years ago, I started my booktube channel. One of the very first videos that I did was going to 7 bookstores in 7 days. At that time, I lived in Richmond, Virginia, so I went to 7 bookstores in that city. Fast forward 1 year, that was last year, we moved to Colorado, so I went to 7 bookstores in 7 days in a new city. I am still in Colorado, and I wanted to do this video again. I feel like it's just tradition now. So I did go to 7 bookstores in 7 days, but that's kind of a lie because I actually went to 7 bookstores in 4 days because 3 of the days that I work, there's no possible way for me to go to a bookstore. So I did about 2 bookstores a day. 7 bookstores in 4 days. Starting with day 1, where did I go? I got off work and I met my husband Brock at Tattered Cover. I love Tattered Cover. I think that they do a really good employee selection. They have really good used books. They also have a really cute bar that I usually get like a drink at, but this time I did not. I usually gravitate towards their used book sections because I really like their used books, but this time around they had a very limited selection of used books, but I did end up buying a book for full price. I do really like supporting my local bookstores. I know I do a lot of Amazon hauls and Target, like, you know, the bigger corporate stores, but I do also shop around to a lot of local bookstores, and luckily in my area, I'm very fortunate. I have a good selection of stores. So let me show you what I got at Tattered Cover on day 1. My first Stephen King book. I have tried reading Dark Tower by Stephen King and I didn't love it. I actually DNF'd it halfway through. I wanted to give him another try. 11/22/63, I don't know what to call it. I actually was influenced by Haley Pham because I watch a lot of her videos and I saw that she had read this and absolutely loved it. It is a brick, like it's a big book, and I'm a little intimidated, not gonna lie. And I don't know how she's gonna fit on my TBR shelf because my TBR cart is packed. I'm gonna start a little pile so we can all see the books. The next bookstore, the same day, so right after Tattered Cover, we went to Hooked on Books, which is right across the street, but it is solely a used bookstore. That's a lie. They have like the tiniest shelf of new books, but even those new books aren't the best selection. I would say majority of this store is Western history. The second you step into this store, it smells like a bookstore. Like, you know that it's like a papery, like metallic-y kind of smell. It's one of my favorite bookstores in the area. I did end up finding 3 books and I was so happy. An Anne Bishop series, which I've never read from Anne Bishop, but I've heard like so much about her just from booktube and book talk and everything. I bought this series. This is book 1, Daughter of the Blood. And so Daughter of the Blood, Heir to the Shadows, Queen of Darkness. Just beautiful editions, like mass market paperback editions. Amazing. Like, they smell so good. And they were $5 each, so they were pretty cheap. This series I really do want to read, and I even got a little bookmark. 1623. On to day 2. Third bookstore, I went to Barnes & Noble. That's just a given. Like, I have to go to Barnes. I did end up getting HIT, of course. They had a romantasy section. They had a wonderful selection of romances. I love in their romance section, they do a really good job of finding unique Kindle Unlimited books to put on their shelves also. This Barnes & Noble is absolutely my favorite one. Did end up buying a few books. First and foremost, I bought Unfortunately Yours by Tessa Bailey. I made a mistake because in my last book haul, I also bought this on Amazon. So I already did a giveaway on my Instagram. I do that pretty frequently, like by accident. I'll buy a duplicate of a book that I already have. So I go onto my Bookstagram and I usually just give it away for free. I don't know, it's my own fault. So go follow my Bookstagram. I just happen to do that occasionally. Then I did find 2 books that were buy one, get one, and, well, buy one, get one 50% off. Red Rising. I have been wanting to read this book for a while, but it's never been like, draws my attention and I'm like, yes, now is the time, you know? So I ended up just buying it because it was on the sale rack. And my best friend Ashley read it. She said she loved it. I've seen a few other booktubers read it and say they really like it. So I do want to eventually read this, and I know the new one, wasn't there a new one that just came out recently? Then the other buy one get one that I got, this one I've never seen before, but again, it was on that romantasy shelf or that romantasy table, which I love how like Barnes & Nobles are catching on to the trend of like romantasy and like book talk tables. Like those are great. This is A Promise of Fire by Amanda Bouchette. When I read the back at the bookstore, it's about this girl who is the king's like truth teller or something. Like she can detect truths and lies from people, I believe, and it has some romance in it, and it's a fantasy, so it's right up my alley. I spent like $35. On day 3, I went to 2 bookstores. This was actually yesterday. I went to 2 bookstores with Brock. We spent like the whole day. We got bagels, coffee, and then we went to 2 bookstores. West Side Stories. West Side Stories we go to pretty frequently. We like this store. I think they have a good selection of used, some new, but mostly I would say used, but they charge a little bit higher than most used bookstores do. I found this book, and well, we all know this book, so I'm just gonna show it to you. Found Jane Eyre, Pride and Prejudice. I've never read this, but I've watched the movie, the older movie. I just absolutely thought this cover was adorable, and of course it is used, so the pages are a little worn. There's a little bit of love on it. Like I just love how, I don't know, like it's flimsy. I'm like trying to describe why I'm loving this book, but it smells so good. So I'm really excited. I do plan to read this year. I've just never read it. So, and I feel like it's a classic that we all should read. And it was $4.99. A good bargain price. Our pile's getting a little big. And the next bookstore Brock and I went to yesterday was Poor Richard's, which we had never been to before. We had seen it and heard of it, and we had walked in there one time, but I guess we walked on the other side of the store because there's 2 entrances, and we walked on one side and didn't realize that the whole other side was a big ass bookstore. We went in and absolutely loved it. Brock even found 2 books there. I found 1 book. I did think that their selection was on the lower side of inventory, but still, like, I went in and had a great time here. And they do have like lots of little journals and trinkets there too, so it wasn't just a bookstore. They had a good mix of like touristy shop plus books, so I kind of liked that. And I got a book, a brand new one, so it's not a used one. I did get Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. I did try Brandon Sanderson a few years ago. I read Mistborn, I read the whole trilogy. No. Did I read the whole trilogy? Or did I read the first 2? But I wanted to give him another shot. I heard that this is like a good intro to him, but also a good break from what he usually does. Like it's not too high fantasy. It's pretty relaxed, pretty chill. Beautiful cover also. This one was $29.99. I was okay with spending a little bit more. Again, it was a little indie bookshop. Like I just want to support them. I'm excited to read this one. And then today I did go to 2 more bookstores. Now, I ran into some issues today because I didn't realize something. I was like, oh, there's a new bookstore I've never heard of called Born Again Bookstore. I didn't realize it was a Christian store. Like I didn't realize there was a lot of like, it was a religious store. And you know, the name of it should have told me. I'm not gonna speak about my religious beliefs on here, but Brock and I, don't judge me, I'm just planning ahead. Brock and I want children. Not right now, not in 2 years, not in 3, probably down the line. But we are thinking about homeschooling or doing some sort of like Montessori learning, co-op. I don't know what we're doing yet, but when we want children, we want to think about that. So I did buy some children's books. Part of this bookstore was like a homeschooling / like children's section. So I was like, why not just start now? I bought some books. All 6 of these books were $9. I was very happy with my finds. I'm not gonna go over them, but I did find some children's books. And we're not having children yet, I'm telling you that right now. So these are going into storage. But I think like finding books like these and starting like a small little collection will be helpful down the road when we do want children and we want to promote reading at a very young age. So Mom and Grandmommy, I'm not pregnant. I'm not. At the last bookstore. So I went to this bookstore called Book Archive. I didn't even film anything in there because I was the only one in there with this older man, and I was like, he's gonna like see me. Like there's like those big mirrors like in the corner of the store. He's like gonna see me filming. And this bookstore, again, it was a mix of religious books and young adult slash Western history. Like there was no romance, there was no fantasy, like that's just not how this bookstore rolls. There's a little bit of fantasy, I lied. There's like the old mass market fantasy books. I did go to a 7th bookstore, but I did not buy anything there. I just wasn't feeling it, and I'll tell you why. I had to go grocery shopping after, and I went to Target to go grocery shopping. This book was on the shelf at Target. Legends and Lattes. I've already read this book. I've already read it, but I wanted a physical copy. The second book, I believe, comes out in December, and I thought it was the cutest book ever when I read it last December, so I wanted my own physical copy. So it's gonna go on my bookshelf right after this, and I'm very happy about it, okay? It's not technically a bookstore, but I did go to 7 bookstores. I just didn't find a book at the 7th one. That is it for this video. I know it's a little bit different than my other 7 bookstores in 7 days. Comment down below if you've been here since that very first 7 bookstores in 7 days video. That's the video that like started it all for me, and I love my channel and I love my journey here on YouTube, so I just want to say thank you to everyone who has supported me along the way. I only plan to continue to get better from here, so I will see you guys in the next video.